years exploring our mind, body, and emotions with mindfulness-based stress reduction. And now we're just going to continue to explore our mind, body, and emotions with CranioSacral therapy and the Tibetan singing bowls. So raise your hand if you're familiar with CranioSacral therapy. So everyone is. Keep your hand up if you practice it, on yourself or with clients. Wow, okay. And how about Tibetan singing bowls? How many people have heard of them? Practice with them. I know Alex does. Okay, so we have a group that has quite a bit of familiarity. So I'll do a brief overview of CranioSacral therapy and the first technique we're going to do, which is called Stillpoint induction. Now, as many of you probably already know, the CranioSacral system is simply a big membrane sac filled with cerebral spinal fluid that surrounds your brain and spinal cord, your central nervous system. So this big membrane sac filled with flowing cerebral spinal fluid is responsible for protecting and nourishing your brain and spinal cord, central nervous system. Now ideally, that big beautiful membrane sac, which you have on page 3 of your workbook, if you're a visual person, should look nice and even and smooth like this. But the thing is, over the course of our lives, we experience traumas. So I'm in a bike accident and I hit my shoulder. I'm in a car accident and I get a whiplash. I am in a relationship that doesn't work out and I have a broken heart. Right? So all these things can cause my nice, smooth membrane sac to get a bunch of kinks in it. And those kinks mean that that membrane can't protect my nervous system from outside influences as easily. It can't be as good a buffer. And the cerebral spinal fluid inside can't flow through those kinks, so it can't get to those nerves to nourish them. So this is kind of the situation many of us find ourselves in. How to smooth out that membrane sac and get that fluid flowing again, so our nervous systems get all the nourishment and protection they need. Well, one really easy way is Stillpoint induction. And it's very simple to do. I have my little tools to help us do it. Very sophisticated tube sock with 2 tennis balls inside. And what we're going to do is lie down again, just the way we did in body scan. Lie down with these 2 balls under the back of our head, specifically where these 2 bumps are on the back of our skull. They're kind of 2 ridges or bumps. Some people have really pronounced ones, some people's are a little more subtle. And by lying down on this, and I'll just demonstrate, by lying down on this under our head, what happens is we're putting pressure on that membrane sac, and we're putting so much pressure on the membrane sac that the cerebral spinal fluid's like, oh my goodness, I can't flow anymore. There's some kind of barrier here. What do? Well, I'm going to shut off and stop flowing for a while. So when the system shuts off, when that fluid doesn't flow, it gets a chance to rest and regroup and come back on even stronger. How does it come back on even stronger? It's got to get strong enough to push past that pressure. And in doing so, when the fluid builds up and pushes past that pressure like that, it gets really strong. It starts to flow and it works out the kinks in that membrane sac. It's so simple, and yet such an effective overall technique, because anything that any imbalances that have now surfaced over the course of your mindfulness-based stress reduction exploration are now right on the surface for us to clear with the Stillpoint induction technique. So I'm going to pass these out. And you might also ask, why on the head? Well, because this part of our brain controls our breathing rate and our heart rate, and by putting a little massage pressure there, it naturally slows down both our breathing and our heart rate. So it naturally puts us in sort of a more relaxed meditative state. That's why we put pressure there. So let me pass these